Today, boys, we've got some exciting news coming from the world of Sonic. If you haven't already guessed from the title of this video, the 35th anniversary Sonic figures have been revealed and are in fact due to come out very, very soon. And boys, I'm not gonna lie, they look pretty special. I will be all over these from day one. Now, if you haven't seen my most recent merch hunt, I suggest pausing this video, watching that first, and then coming back to this video after. But your boy, Super Shadow Ventures is that goated. 100% facts, don't question it. We've actually managed to get our hands on one of the 35th anniversary figures early. Now, I'm not sure whether or not one of the employees put the wrong figure out or not, because what was in store certainly wasn't what was listed online. But we'll get to that in just a moment's time. But first, we need to take a look at these leaks and get you all up to date with the latest news. So a couple of days ago, some images started circling the internet of the 35th anniversary Sonic figures. So far, we can confirm that there's at least going to be one wave of standard 5-inch figures and also a wave of 2.5-inch figures. Now, if we start with the 2.5-inch figures, it looks as if we'll be receiving a 2.5-inch version of my boy Shadow, along with Dr. Eggman, Tails, and what seems to be an 8-bit version of Sonic. Now, I don't know about you, but boys, I'm not gonna lie, these figures look incredible. If I cast your mind back to the recently released Sonic DC figures, I was really taken away by two things. Number one was the quality of the 2.5-inch figures. Who am I kidding? All of the DC figures had an incredible high standard, but from my personal experience, the 2.5-inch Jax figures, they're not normally as good of a quality in comparison to its counterparts, the 5 or 6-inch figures. But for the first time in a long time, I was really impressed with the quality of the 2.5-inch figures for the DC Sonic range. Now, secondly, it was the packaging. I've said it from day one, but the packaging for the Sonic DC figures was the best I think I've ever seen. Now, you should all know just how much I love the Movie 3 figures. I mean, most of my videos on this channel are based on the Sonic Movie 3 figures, so moving on. But the biggest thing that let me down with the movie figures was just how boring the packaging was on both the standard figures and the 2.5-inch figures. It was okay at first, but after not just wave 1 or wave 2, but 3 different waves of seeing exactly the same design packaging, boys, I'm not gonna lie, it didn't just get boring, it got pretty confusing. Now, the separate singular releases such as the 2-pack light-up figures of Super Sonic and Super Shadow, those figures will always remain some of the best Sonic 3 figures that we did in fact get, as it was just so refreshing to see some different packaging. It sounds crazy when I hear that back in my head. Sometimes all it takes is just different packaging. But before I digress more and more, the DC figures knocked it out of the bag with not just the quality, which was incredible, but the packaging was so unique and refreshing to see from the generic copy and paste Jax Sonic formula. Seeing the Batman Shadow figure get its own separate box art to the Knuckles as Superman figure, it was really cool to see. So looking at the newly leaked 35th anniversary Sonic figures, I'm extremely excited. But I do have a couple of concerns which I really do hope don't come to fruition. Number one is the fact that if we see multiple waves of these figures, which I really hope we do, I hope the box art changes slightly wave to wave. Off the top of my head, we could see a different change of maybe the Chaos Emeralds. That would be pretty cool to see. So the first wave could be this green version, and then the second wave could be red, and then even yellow for the third wave. Now, don't get me wrong, I think the box art from the images we're seeing looks incredible. The emerald styled outline with the Sonic logo in the top right, it really does work. Like, boys, this is incredible. I'm not gonna lie, it really does look good. But it can get so confusing which figures from which wave if there isn't in fact any changes to the box arts, especially if you're not so clued into the Sonic figures and you're just looking at it for, say, the first time. Plus, another factor is it would be so refreshing to see, and I'm sure this would only help drive sales up even more.
What inspired you to build a second Krusty Krab right next door to the original?
Money!
Naturally, as a customer, if something has more of an exclusive feel to it, you can bet I'll be buying it straight out of the gate. I know it's a bit of a contradiction to what I was saying earlier about how the same box art gets boring on each figure with the Sonic 3 figures, but I really do think there's just something about these 35th anniversary figures that just feels so refreshing. My second concern is the quality of the figures. Now, don't get me wrong, Jakks Pacific creates some of the best affordable Sonic figures out there. It's no question of doubt. Yes, you could get some Ultimate Collector Series figure with more detail, color correction, and accuracy, but most of Jakks figures range from $5 to $20, so we really can't complain. But looking at these 2.5-inch figures, boys, I'm not gonna lie, but they look a little too copy and pasted for my liking. I'm pretty sure we've seen these exact molds before with normal wave releases for each Eggman, Shadow, and Tails. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've got this exact same Eggman, but instead of coming from a green 35th anniversary box, he came in the standard blue one. Now, I get companies are all about making money. We saw with the Sonic Movie 3 figures, there was a lot of copy and paste. Like, boys, I do get it. Shadow was hot topic at the time. It was the year of Shadow. Keanu Reeves, Sonic Generations, Movie 3, blah, blah, blah. I get it. Shadow was a very strong selling point. But to basically re-release the same figure with just the change in the mouth, yeah, it certainly scraped the barrel. And it didn't sit all too well with certain people, but I still bought it. Moving on. I will say though, if I'm right in thinking that these figures are just straight up reused molds, I will slightly be disappointed. It would probably stop me buying multiple copies for both figure display and box display. I'd probably just get the one and keep them in a box, till of course the end of time. But let's move on. Enough about the 2.5-inch figures. Let's look at some of the big boy stuff. The newly revealed 5-inch figures. Now this is exciting. Again, there's not really too much to say about the box art that we haven't already touched on. It's the same concept as the 2.5-inch figures, just on a larger scale. Now personally, I like to picture the 2.5-inch figures as the shrunken moon in Despicable Me. Now before we look at the back of the box and talk about the other figures in the range, yes, I know that's what you're waiting for. Let's have a brief look at Sonic. And I must admit, all looks pretty good. He looks like the standard classic Sonic we've all come to know and expect. And take notes, Jax. This is where I don't mind copy and paste. When I get added accessories. See? Problem solved. But the emerald looks really cool. I'm loving the small print 35th anniversary logo attached. Now I'm not sure if there's any changes to Sonic that we haven't already seen before in another figure. I guess we'll just have to wait and see until we get our hands on one to find out. But now for the moment you've all been waiting for, let's take a look at the back and talk about the 3 other figures coming in this wave. As you can see, we're seeing some of the franchise's most popular and well-known characters returning in Metal Sonic and Tails, which is good to see. But wait, could that really be? Yes, it is. We are indeed receiving a 35th anniversary figure of the one and only Me-Files. Boys, it's a joke. I know it's Mephiles. Me-Files just sounds funnier. Now, this is why I told you to watch my most recent merch hunt first if you haven't already, because in that video, to my surprise, we did indeed manage to find Mephiles early and, in fact, pick him up. Now, the Smith's Toys website was, in fact, displaying Mephiles as the standard classic version, which I was still more than happy to get, as Mephiles is incredibly rare and hard to find. Trust me, I know from experience. But I was pretty shocked that, in fact, it was the 35th anniversary version just sat there on the shelves. Now, I don't know if someone made a mistake and figured they were the same thing. Who knows? I guess we just need to go on a different merch hunt soon to another Smith's Toys to find out. But either way, it was a big win for us. I'm gonna take it. Now, I can't lie, I'm still processing the fact that I have a 35th anniversary figure, what feels like months earlier than I should. Now, I've got to hand it to Sonic and Jax. Personally, I think they've included a fantastic range of figures for the 35th anniversary of Sonic. Rather than making the usual 5-inch Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Shadow, it's nice to see some other characters who are very much loved by the Sonic community. I think Mephiles is certainly my favorite out of the lot, but I'm really interested to see what Metal Sonic looks like. And for some reason, I really want the 8-bit Sonic. Now, it looks as if these figures are scheduled to roll out early to mid 2026. My guesses are, if shops like Smith's are starting to get stock now, I'd expect to see all these figures on the shelves come January. So 2026 looks as if it will be starting strong. Let me know down below your opinions and thoughts on the 35th anniversary figures, which ones you like the most, and the others that you really couldn't care less about. Could we see multiple waves and touch into other characters which never get the attention they well and truly deserve? Who knows? Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one.